107 to 106 to tie the series at 1 game apiece. Wow, I didn't see that coming.
No.
Bill Pito along with Wally Zerbiak from our Delta MSG studios. Series tied at 1. Knicks were up 91-79 after 3 quarters of play, and they just were completely outplayed in the fourth quarter. I can't remember the last time we've seen that when it's mattered, when it's really mattered. Knicks were really outplayed there with the game on the line.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, starting with the bench play to start the fourth quarter. The momentum was seized by Kuminga and the Atlanta Hawks. And then once the starters came back in, you would think the starters have had the advantage the whole entire series. But too much Jalen Brunson dribbling. There was Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson pick and roll the whole entire fourth quarter. I don't know why there wasn't more Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson pick and roll in the fourth quarter. There was one play of that, and Jalen got a pretty good look that went in and out, but at least it was a little more of a rhythm shot and not as much of a one-on-one or one-on-5. It looked like the whole entire fourth quarter for the Knicks. So they got to figure out a lot from this loss, because the Atlanta Hawks completely stole that game. And in a 7-game series, when you steal a game like this that you should not have won, and the Hawks should not have won this game, sometimes that can really bode big in a 7-game series.
It seemed like the Hawks, well, they were just hanging around.
Yep.
Hanging around.
Yep.
Knicks up 8, Knicks up 12, Knicks were never really able to extend it to a huge lead.
Right.
Hawks are hanging around. They outscored the Knicks in the fourth quarter 28-15.
Yep.
And the Knicks, Wally, shooting in the fourth quarter 5 out of 22.
Yep.
Was that poor shot selection or really good defense?
It's a combination of both, but at the same time, the Knicks haven't had problems scoring on the Hawks this whole entire series. It was just a problem with the offense completely going stagnant. Walking the ball up the floor, the pressure really got to Jalen Brunson. He had a guy defending him on the other side of half court. Josh Hart's pick and rolls were way too far out. You're not going to do anything when you set a screen at half court. The defense is just going to switch it or go under it. That's just basketball 101. So the Knicks have to figure out a way to kind of get their offense more pressure, at a closer amount to the basket. I mean, it's just too far out where the Knicks are being forced to start their offense, and as a result, the offense had no flow, no rhythm. Nobody got any good touches, and they were working against the shot clock the whole fourth quarter. All
right, well, let's bring in Alan Hahn. He's across the street in MSG. Alan, your reaction to what just transpired?
Well, the building is stunned. Usually when the game ends, the place empties out pretty quick. There's still people just standing, all looking around like, did that just happen? It's really like the crowd went from this anticipation of going up 2-0 early in the fourth quarter with a double-digit lead, and little by little, with every three-point miss the Knicks had, and there were a lot of them. I mean, you make 11 threes, 11 for 34, you're going to struggle. And the free throw misses, the groans in this building on the free throw misses. Anunoby missed 2 late in the fourth quarter. Those were key, obviously, when you consider the final score. 10 free throw misses, struggling with your three-point shooting. And then the defense got way too loose late in the game. That's the recipe for a meltdown, and that's what we saw here on the Garden floor.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. And, the Knicks have to get back to the drawing board, because these are some things that, Coach Mike Brown has been preaching. We got to be a little bit more aggressive offensively, push the ball up the floor. We can't just stand around and watch Jalen Brunson and expect him to bail us out every single game. And Jalen Brunson has to do more to get that ball popping a little bit more in the fourth quarter. And conversely, like, nobody can stop C.J. McCollum on the Knicks right now. This guy has come into Madison Square Garden and completely dominated in 2 games. The Knicks have no answer for him defensively, and that's a real problem, because he just took over the game in the fourth.
I thought McCollum went after Brunson a lot, trying to seek out that matchup. They spread out the floor, and he was taking him one-on-one. It was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of trash talk between the two teams throughout the game. There were timeouts where even the bench guys were coming over to mid-court, and they were having words with guys who weren't even getting in the game. Were talking to each other, so you could tell there was an animosity building. But I just feel like this is one the Knicks kind of let get away, not even gave away, because they were in full control of this game. And you felt it early on, especially. But missing so many open looks. I thought their offense was generating good looks. They were not knocking them down. And I remember what Jalen Brunson told me after game 1. Remember, he started out red hot, and then he struggled with his shot the rest of the game. And he said, I've got to work on my mechanics. I got to get my mechanics right. Well, you can see in this game, the mechanics still aren't there, because shots he normally makes when he gets into the painted area, he was missing. A couple of threes that he missed as well, that he was trying to get momentum. So there's a lot of things there for the Knicks to look at on tape and say, was it really the Hawks defense, or did we give away a lot of good looks and free throws that we normally would have made?
Brunson, your point, Allen, only 10 out of 26. Our New York State Lottery power player, C.J. McCollum. Remember, they got him in the trade for Trae Young.
Yep.
McCollum's had a really good run in the NBA. Didn't play a lot with the Wizards. He's had some injury woes, but Wally, he's 34 years old. He scored 32 points.
Dominant performance. Just completely controlled the game in the fourth quarter. Did to the New York Knicks what Jalen Brunson normally does to opponents. He just did whatever he wanted. I think he got sparked by this little altercation with Alvarado. And as a result, the fire was lit, and the Knicks had no answer for him. One-on-one, he doesn't even see Jalen Brunson there. He blows by him, gets whatever shot he wants. This was a really tough shot. At some point, with OG Anunoby draped all over you, you make that go-ahead pull-up jumper falling out of bounds. When he took that, I didn't think he was making that one, but that just goes to show you what a shot maker he is. He is a shot maker. He's been that for his whole entire career. In Portland, he was alongside Damian Lillard. So the Knicks are going to have to figure out, if you want to play in tight games, you got to get the ball out of that guy's hands.
You know, and Wally, you brought up something before that I think is also going to be talked about. I'm sure there'll be questions asked of Mike Brown as well, is some of the rotation decisions, some of the lineups that he had out there. There was a lot of bench minutes that in game one, the Knicks owned, that in game two, they did not. Kuminga had a different energy to him, and the Knicks really, other than Mitchell Robinson, who had a strong game, but there was really no one else coming off the bench that had the kind of energy that Kuminga brought to this game. He was a difference maker, and those were key minutes because we saw in game one, those bench minutes were in favor of the Knicks, in game two, in favor of the Hawks.
All right, Alan, we'll see you when you hop across the street here to join us on the set. And your point, Jonathan Kuminga had 19 points.
Yeah.
The Knicks bench, Mitchell Robinson -10, Deuce -4. We had Shamet -6, and Jordan Clarkson -5. So bench struggles. Much more to come here. It's a playoff picture presented by Mohegan Sun. Pistons, the Magic. Orlando won game one last night. Cavs tonight beat the Raptors. Highlights coming up later on the MSG 150. Knicks and the Hawks tied at 1, and the Celtics blew out the Sixers yesterday in game number 1. Knicks were rolling up until the final 12 minutes. They're up 91-79 after 3 quarters of play. They were dominating the inside. Cat was doing, he had 14 points in the third quarter. Mitchell Robinson tied a career high with 13 playoff points. They were dominating the Knicks. They were dominating the inside. We talk a lot coming into the series about their height advantage. It was all going their way, and then it wasn't. It's a very odd situation tonight in terms of how it was going and how it ended.
Yeah, because the Knicks had control of this series all 7 quarters, pretty much. They just looked like they were tight, and everything was under control. But then in that fourth quarter, it started with the bench kind of gave up a little bit of momentum, and the Hawks saw some life. And then as a result, in the fourth quarter, you live with Jalen Brunson having the ball in his hands and making decisions the whole entire time. And McCollum was better. That's the bottom line. It comes down to, at the fourth quarter, the 2 best players on the team, they're going head-to-head. They're taking every shot down the stretch. Who's going to make them? Who's going to miss them? In this game, McCollum outplayed Jalen Brunson in crunch time. As a result, the Hawks stole this game. They haven't really been in this series much, but they came back in the fourth quarter from a double-digit deficit and stole game 2. So it's 1-1. It's a long series, it looks like it's going to be now, but the Knicks definitely gave away an opportunity to go up 2-0.
All right, let's take a look at the second half. Knicks won the third quarter by 5, but lost the fourth quarter by 3.
Yeah. And the third quarter, the rhythm and the flow was all
Cat had
there.
a huge third quarter, Wally. He had 14 points.
Yeah, and you know, Cat, I just think the go-to play against this Hawks team has to be Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson pick and roll in the fourth quarter, and we only saw it once. Jalen didn't hit the shot, but he got a pretty good look. It just kind of works. Your 2 best players in the hardest play to guard here in the fourth quarter. Kuminga just getting loose. Knicks could not get stops. They were mismatched with some of the lineups. There you see mismatched communication on a switch. They're looking at each other. And this Atlanta Hawks team, if you make mistakes defensively, they're going to put the pressure on you. You know, Jalen Brunson tried to continue to attack. But 9 for 26, like the fact that the Knicks only lost by 1 when he shot 9 for 26.
10 for 26.
10 for 26, okay. That's a credit to their defense was really good for 3.5 quarters until the fourth quarter. where C.J. McCollum just took over. They were down 4 at that point. The Knicks were. Brunson hits a hard, tough shot, and then McCollum here with
That's
that
over
big
OG
step.
and Obi.
I didn't think he was going to be able to get that up over OG. Really tough shot. And here, the long arms and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Brunson has it tough with Daniels, Walker, you name it. Bunch of guys guarding him. That was a good play there off the inbounds to get Jalen that wide open look here with 7 seconds to go. And then no use of the timeout by Mike Brown. I think he thought they had an advantage. They got a decent look. Could have stole that game right there. But Mike Brown could have used the timeout, could have advanced the ball, and then set up a play, kind of like he did the possession before, to get Jalen that wide open 3. But you kind of live with that miss by Mikal Bridges there. That was a pretty good look.
Alan mentioned when he joined us, Knicks missed 10 free throws. Knicks dominated the boards. Second chance points, 24-9. Knicks led Wally 91% of the game. Hawks led 3% of the game, and it's the Hawks who win the game.
I know. Well, it
And
happened.
again, you know, one thing I want to ask you: they're a young team, don't have a lot of playoff experience. How important might this win be for their confidence going forward here?
It's very important because the Knicks, they had them under complete control the whole entire game. And I give Quinn Snyder a lot of credit, man. He has his guys believing. He saw the Knicks let their guard down in that fourth quarter just a little bit, and they jumped at it. I mean, this team just jumped at it like a bunch of raptors. They just went right after this game. C.J. McCollum has the experience. He's putting this team on his back. He's giving these young guys belief. With the way he's playing, it's a real problem for the Knicks in this series because the Knicks don't have an answer to slow him down. And once all these younger guys start to gain a little bit of confidence and we go down to Atlanta, the Knicks made it tough on themselves by not taking care of business and going up 2-0 at home.
Game 3 is Thursday in Atlanta. Here's some post-game comments now from Atlanta coach Quinn Snyder.
Yeah, I think that's a great word to